Hi, folks. I'm Dan McDermott. Welcome. This is the McDermott Report, live weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We have a good show tonight, although both of my guests are not yet with us, so I'm going to try to call Daniel. Here's the rundown. We've got a lot going on, national news, and also we're going to do some tech stuff. I got my buddy in Vancouver who's going to call me in. Let's see here. I'm trying to get him to call. He's waiting for the other guy to call, but I think he's watching, so we'll get him to call now if I can. And coming up on the show today, we're going to talk with Daniel Lawson. He's a buddy of mine from Front Royal, Virginia. Daniel lived in a cave for a while, and I'm not kidding. He's late calling today because he had to pick up a goat. He promised he would, in fact, give us some details about that. And Daniel's going to give us some tips on how to live frugally, which he learned eating peanut butter and jelly in a cave. The debt ceiling talks seem to be going well, and while I'm waiting for a caller, I'm going to talk briefly about that. What's going on is, as most folks know, the debt ceiling has to be raised or the government will allegedly default on its bills. This has never happened before. We have steadily risen the debt ceiling for quite some time, every so often since George Washington was president. But in this case, what's going on is the Republicans are saying that the only way that we're going to agree to an increase in the debt ceiling, which means it's an arbitrary limit set by Congress that maxes out the amount of money that can be borrowed by the federal government. It's in the trillions. And what they're saying now is that if President Obama doesn't agree to dramatic spending cuts in the trillions, that they won't agree to extend the debt ceiling by a couple trillion. So they're kind of at a stalemate now, and that's the deal. So I guess the latest is President Obama is saying they're not sure they're going to be able to send Social Security checks out. And the last time that we had something similar to this, in my mind, was in, I guess, 1992 when the government shut down. And it was a standoff between then President Bill Clinton and Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich. And it turned out that the American people largely thought that the Republicans in Congress were to blame for the shutdown, and it didn't go well for Speaker Gingrich, and it didn't go well for the Republicans. Whether that's the case this time, I've heard both sides argued here. A lot of folks are saying that they're upset with runaway government spending, but as I've said before, the budget was a couple trillion under Clinton, went up by $1 trillion under George W. Bush with 2 wars, 9/11, and also just general spending. It's a nonpartisan issue. Both parties spend like drunken sailors when given the opportunity, and then went up another $1 billion under President Obama. So that's kind of where we are. Let's see here. I think I'm going to call my first guest, and if you'd like to join us, the number is on the screen. It's 888-688-6625. That is the number, 818-688-6625. And let's call, this is pretty ghetto, but sorry. Let's see if this works. All right, we are calling him. And hopefully we'll bring in Mr. Daniel Lawson, who's getting a goat.
Hello.
Daniel, how you doing?
Hey, what you doing?
Hey, have you gotten your goat?
Yeah.
Can you talk?
John Johns.
All right, can you talk? We're on the air, or we're live, whatever you want to call it.
On the air.
Yeah, on the air.
But on the radio?
No, we're on the internet. We're on the Google.
Internet.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk to you about is some ideas on how to live frugally. But first, I want to know. Tell me your goat story. What you got a goat today? What's what's the story there?
No, just a friend of mine wanted to get rid of it, so I got it for my granddaughter. We hauled it up here and threw it in a pen with a buddy of mine. He's got 7 of them down here anyway. Gonna kill them in the wintertime.
Tell me about the time you got a cow and you got pulled over.
And put that on the internet?
Yeah. Are you allowed to tell that story? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I was going to work, and dude had a cow on the truck, so I got him pulled over and asked him what he wanted for it. We discussed it and figured it out at about $115, and I threw it in the back of the old lady's car and had to drive from Manassas all the way back to front row with it on the back seat with my little brother holding on to it. And the back seat didn't look like it supposed to when we got there.
And then you got pulled over, right?
Yeah, I got pulled over. I mean, cop wanted to know what was doing. I told him hauling the calf up to the house. And after he seen what the back seat looked like, he went on and let us go.
And your girlfriend at the time was not amused.
Yeah, she was. She didn't really like that a whole lot at all. I mean, she got used to the little calf.
Yeah, it was a cute calf, I must say. Okay, well, what I want to talk to you about, there was, as you know, we're in a bad economy, and that's putting it mildly. And the government's talking about raising the debt ceiling and all this stuff. But there was a story in the news that it was, the malls were hurting first, Sears, those places, Kohl's. Then everyone was going to Walmart. Walmart was doing great. And then now, for the last few years, they've had declining. They look at existing store sales. You can't judge a new store, but they look at stores that have existed for a year. And that's been down for, I think, like 9 quarters, so over 2 years. And then everyone was going to the dollar stores. That was the big competition for Walmart. Well, now the big $3 stores, I think Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and another one, they've had a bad quarter. And so they said that pawn shops are doing well. So I guess we've gone from Kohl's to Walmart to the dollar stores to the pawn shops, and I'm not sure what's next. But you have some experience. I guess you lived in a cave at one point, and you have some experience. And I thought it'd be interesting. If you don't have a lot of money, what can you do to get by? What are some of the things you did?
I mean, just like use straight frontier stuff. I mean, like you said, I stayed in the cave. I stayed in abandoned buildings. I mean, it was all by choice. I mean, I had a place, like I say, I just didn't get along good with my father. But, I mean, it's going to revert back to pioneer days anyway before too much longer, I would think. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, like I say, the cave, I mean, it was free.
Yeah, it was on your property.
Are free, unless you get the loader and charges and stuff like that, which I didn't. I never destroyed anything where I stayed. Sometimes I had permission to be there even.
Your cave was famous. It was in a movie, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, we still can't discuss where it's at because we don't want no like extra visitors.
Right, I agree.
But yeah, it made it into one of them less watched films. I think Ron Jeremy was in it.
Yeah, this is a true story. There was a cave that's somewhere in Virginia, and a movie company came and asked if they could film, and they brought all these big lights and cameras and everything. It looked like Hollywood, Steven Spielberg or something, but in fact it was. I guess at one point there was a naked woman.
It was like it was Return of Bigfoot or something. I mean, they had a Bigfoot, I think, that took his liberty with a woman or something. I mean, we had like a little fake Bigfoot running around and a couple of naked girls.
Yeah, that okay. So anyway, I guess okay. So tell me how do you live when you? I mean, because you've been real down on your luck. What are some of the things? I know you lived for years on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, I still do. I've always loved it. I mean, it's like a cheap meal, and I mean, it'll keep you straight fryers. I mean, hell, we just go to like say 7-Eleven, buy two for $2.22 hot dogs, and just fill the daggone container up with the condiments. I mean, hell, you can live all night on that.
Yeah, you get like 6 pounds of
Like
stuff,
when we-
right? For $1.
Yeah, 6 pound stuff in them little containers, and hell, you eat all night on it.
And then
I mean, you don't need nothing past that. It costs $2.22 for the whole meal.
yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah, that'll just ask for extra condiments when you go get your dollar menu at McDonald's. I mean, you just get all that, like a bunch of the sauces and all that stuff. You get all that mess on a hamburger, hell, you'll be full for that night.
Yeah. What about
You had to kill something along the river banks or something like that. Fish, whatever.
how would you kill it? With a like fishing rod, or do you just get redneck
Yeah,
on
I
it?
mean,
And,
you like I say, you well, I mean, fish or trap. I did both. Still do.
and you got somebody who lives with you. I think he fishes literally every day, rain, sleet, snow. Every day he goes fishing.
Every day unless the river's froze.
Now, are you scared about the mercury? Because I know it's in Virginia. A lot of the rivers, there's floating fish. The male fish are laying eggs. It's a disaster. Well, I mean, is that the health concerns?
I hadn't died yet, but that's probably why I'm in the shape I'm in. I don't know. I mean, they say I don't know, 1 or 2 meals a month or something. But like I say, I don't think it's all that bad. I don't eat stuff that's got lesions on them.
Yeah, I guess not. That's a good idea.
I mean, they didn't allow fishing at Avtex, but if it was real bad, I think they'd probably close the damn river down or something.
Avtex was
They got.
that was a plant. Let me just tell for folks who don't know, that was in Virginia. That was a rayon fiber plant that employed thousands of people at its peak. I think half the town worked there. Grandpa, Dad, and Junior all worked there, and they made rayon fibers. They made stuff for the space shuttle program, for the tiles, and it was pumping pollution into the river. But it's not solely because of that, because even upstream of that, there are problems, and that thing's been gone for, 15 years or more?
Yeah, every bit of it. And I mean, you figure they done turned the ground into a playground out there, so I mean, evidently they got it cleaned up pretty good.
Yeah.
Unless our kids are going to start glowing in the dark in years to come.
Well, you don't know. Could be some sort of bubble.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You'll never know about the government anymore.
Yeah, some Aaron Brockovich type thing. So what other tips do you have? Like if you're down, like where can you get, like how do you stretch stuff? You said you go into 7-Eleven, you get a couple hot dogs for $2 and load it up with condiments. What are some other things you've done?
I mean, I do mainly the hunt, the trapping or the fishing, and the greens. I mean, make tea out of just about anything that's got a leaf on it. You make tea out of.
You make tea out of what?
Just about anything that's got a leaf. Your dandelions. I mean, all your flowers. I mean, just about anything. I mean, if it's got a leaf on it, more than likely you can make tea out of it.
What kind of stuff? I mean, like what have you actually used? What did it taste like?
Well, I mean, dandelion tea. I mean, I just put the dandelion heads in there, boil them up, and I mean, it's good to go. I mean, just add stuff to taste. Just keep on trying different stuff. You're bound to find something you like. Grow your own vegetables. I mean, that's what I do.
And you got chickens, but your mom had pheasants or something. But I did the math, and it's actually much more expensive to make your own eggs, or to have chickens or pheasants or whatever, than to just go buy eggs.
But I mean, we got our eggs, and I mean, if we want the bird, I mean, we can kill the bird too. And I mean, you don't really have to feed them a store-bought food. I mean, you can give them your table scraps. And if your birds are free range, I mean, they can take care of themselves for the most part. As long as they got access to fresh water, I mean, they can find their own food as long as they're free range.
What about clothes? You think like Salvation Army thrift store or what? What's the best?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got a nice collection of duds. I don't know. I mean, as far as clothes, I mean, I end up with them.
And how many you eat? How many peanut?
A big family. Everybody's always outgrowing something.
You have
And my mom's big on Christmas. I mean, I get usually everything at Christmas time I'm going to need for that year.
How many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches do you eat a year, honestly?
I mean, you figure I eat about 4 a day, every single day. Even if I don't even want them, I eat them.
You just like them, or it's cheap?
That ain't no joke.
4 a day? I mean,
it's like a habit. About 4 a day.
Well, it doesn't need refrigeration, really.
Done it for probably 20 years or better.
That works. All right. So, how's the economy in Front Royal right now?
Probably about as good as it is down there in Haymarket or Leesburg or wherever the hell you at now.
Lynchburg.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a mess. It's going to stay a mess. I don't even look for it to get better, really. I mean, this is what we're going to be getting used to. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's going to stay like this. Everybody's going to gradually get used to it, deal with it, and I mean, it'll be an accepted thing.
Used to have a thrift store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, what years was that? And that's probably a good time to have one now, right?
Oh, I'd love to have another one. I wish I wouldn't let that one go. I mean, it's good income. I mean, like you said, I mean, a lot of people shop there. They can't afford to shop anywhere else.
I knew a guy who had a used...
thrift doesn't actually mean junk anyway. It just means used.
Right. I knew a guy who had a used restaurant equipment store, and a guy who worked for him told me that he didn't pay anything for most of his stuff. He'd get a call from some developer that owned, a strip mall, and they were shutting down Louis' Pizza or whatever, and the guy, Louis, just disappeared, and they said, if you can get it out of here in 48 hours, it's yours. So he'd get everything, pizza ovens, the whole deal, because the guy owed more than, the stuff.
On average, my stuff was like donated. I'd go home, and when I'd get to the shop next morning, somebody done dropped off this, dropped off that, and I mean, I'd put it in there for, honest money. And I mean, if I hadn't sold it in a week, obviously you done priced it too high, or it's an unwanted item anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you either lower the price or get rid of the item because it's not a wanted item anyway.
Right. Okay.
I mean, that's the problem. Most of the little stores now anyway. I mean, they want to get rich, and I mean, they overprice their stuff. Walmart, when they have them half-price sales, I mean, it's proof that they can sell it for that, or they wouldn't be able to sell it for that. They don't have that amount in it. They don't need to sell it for $15. That's why they can afford to sell it half-price sale of $7. They only have the $7 invested in it.
Yeah, there's a markup.
They shouldn't have had it for sale for $15 to begin with. The markup's way too high. So I mean,
yeah, their profit margin, I think, is about 5%. I think that's their profit margin, about 5%. But after they pay everybody. And I asked...
that really ain't too bad.
No, I asked a manager. I went into a Costco, and I saw a movie. I forget what it was, but it was, I forget, $16 or something, DVD. And then at Walmart, they had it like $5 less, whatever the prices were. It was a lot cheaper at Walmart. So I asked the guy, I said, I don't understand. I said, I pay a membership fee for Costco, and your price is significantly higher on this new hot movie than Walmart's. And he said, that's because, he said, we don't play games, is what he said. He said, Walmart will actually take a loss on something just because it's a loss leader to get you in the store, because everyone knows that when a new hot movie comes out, back when people bought movies, that Walmart, would be the cheapest place to get it. And then while you're there, you're going to get your Tide and you're going to get your, food or whatever while you're in the store, and that they would just take a hit on that and actually lose money. And I know other places do this, like Sheetz. When they came to Lynchburg, a buddy of mine was talking to some gas stations were upset because Sheetz comes in and lowballs the price. And there's a war here in Forest, Virginia, nearby Lynchburg, where it's about 10 cents, sometimes 15 cents less than anywhere else, because you've got a Kroger, which is the big grocery store chain here, and they're in a war with the local Sheetz. And so folks, can drive 15 minutes or whatever. I mean, it's not really worth it, but if you live in that area, you benefit because it's this gas war, which is great for folks in that area or who drive by that area regularly. And but the gas stations were complaining when Sheetz first came, and they said, my buddy talked to a tank guy, and he said, I pull up to the exact same spot where Sheetz trucks pull up to buy the gas, and I know exactly what they pay, and they pay the exact same thing. And Sheetz was just discounting it below their cost because it's just psychological. It's like when they open a Walmart and they have 25-cent Cokes and vending machines out front with a big sign, 25 cents or whatever the price is. That makes you assume everything in the store is a bargain basement deal, when in fact it's not the case. Like Sheetz is really a sub shop. It's a restaurant, a carry-out restaurant. It's not really a gas station. The gas is just to get you to stop, but they make their money on the food.
The only reason I stop there is get the muffins.
They're schmuffins? Yeah, I guess you like all the condiments.
That's the only reason I'd even stop.
But you don't have the free reign you would at 7-Eleven with the condiments. But you could negotiate.
As far as your Walmart, I would never badmouth the Walmart. I don't believe anyway, because I went to the Hurricanes. And I got to see what Walmart does. They do a whole lot for like the victims. They open the stores up down there and just let the people have at it for, quite a few items, to get it out of the store.
You actually lived on MREs,
right? Hurricane Katrina, right? And, all the free men camped out in their parking lots, and that was on the whole South, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. Just all of it, and Walmart's down there. They was fine.
Now you went down there looking for work.
All stuff.
You went down there looking for work. And you found
down doing tree work for Hurricane Katrina.
And you were they were just handing out MREs, and people I guess got sick of them. They're really good, but if you eat it over and over,
Well, the MREs were being handed out by the armed forces, for the most part. But it took place in Walmart parking lot. But like your Pampers and stuff like that, and your food. They wanted it out of that store. They was operating on, say, generator power, so they couldn't power, say, all the coolers or this, that, and the other. So rather than let the stuff go bad, they just let the public in, the ones that actually were hit, and just let them have at it.
Right.
They was taking food out, everything else. Just so it wouldn't go bad and go to waste.
Right.
Most of your stores nowadays would have just took the loss, thrown it all in the dumpster, and that would have been that.
Now, I assume when they opened it up, that was for food, not 32-inch Vizio plasma.
Yeah, it wasn't for the TVs or anything like that. Although, they give away quite a bit of stuff.
Right. I guess a lot of it was destroyed,
right? Pampers ain't a spoilable item either, but they was giving it away.
Right. And they can write it off,
Right. I'm sure they did.
And none of their customers had any money anyway.
The person that needed what I'm saying, the person that needed that stuff, they don't care if Walmart did a write-off. They don't even care about that part of it.
And none of the people living there had any money.
Walmart might have made more by giving it away than they would have sold it. I don't know.
How many days after the hurricane actually hit were you down there?
We was down there. Me and my brother went down. We made it down there the second day. We beat the people that lived down there. We beat them back. We ended up staying in the parking lots down there. We slept in the back of a pickup truck. We beat them back by about a day and a half. We had to wait on them, and then you got to wait on the insurance adjusters, your power companies to come in. Insurance agents to set up in the parking lots. To okay, for say you that had a limb on your house. To here's $10,000. Go. We know it's this much damage. Here's $10,000 to get you started, and then you would, hire us to do whatever you wanted done. And we did a lot of we donated a lot of work down there also. It depended. We stopped in a trailer park, ended up staying down there about 3 days working, just because they didn't have money to take care of, insurance and stuff like that. Right.
Yeah, they did that, and Walmart saves a lot of people a lot of money. They do. They force competition. They're not the cheapest on everything, and the dollar stores are cheaper on some things. I get frustrated when I see them playing the stupid games like an HDMI cable, which I can buy online, good quality for $1 a foot, is $25 or something. It's just ridiculous. But in general, when before they came, you paid more for stuff, and it's bad if you're a retailer who's selling the same type of stuff. I remember there was a place called in Front Royal, or Winchester, it was called Teacher's Secret, and I was a teacher at the time. And it sold all these little, neat things a teacher would want. And they made a lot of their money on, I guess, just basic office-type supplies a teacher would buy. Silly pads or, pens, pencil, whatever type of stuff a teacher would have. And there was another little office supply store in the strip mall. And I remember Walmart came, and then Staples came right across the street. And the lady said, I said, well, what do you think? And she said, "Oh, I'm fine. I bring it on. I have different stuff than they sell, and I can provide customer service that they can't." And I said, "Ma'am, I wish you well." And about 6 months later, the place was for rent. It was empty. She had closed down. So it's not good for everybody. But clearly, the consumer in areas where there are Walmarts, everyone pays less for stuff than. And the rich people it doesn't affect, but your regular, working guy, they're paying less for stuff. Okay, let me ask you this is another story. I want to get your take on this. In California, there's Amazon where you can buy books and movies, all kinds of stuff. You can buy cables for a computer, an iPod, whatever. You can buy all that stuff at Amazon.com. Now, if it used to be this way with mail order catalogs, but if you go into a store, and you're in Front Royal, Virginia, so if you go into a store in Front Royal, to the local computer store, and you buy a computer cable, or you go to the bookstore and you buy a book, you have to pay your sales tax on that item. If you go on Amazon and you order it, you're supposed to file at the end of the year with the state a use tax, but most people don't. And so basically, most people don't pay the sales tax if they order it online. On top of that, it's obviously cheaper to run Amazon than to have a store in every town in the country. So they make, with economies of scale and with the sales tax thing. So what Amazon did, and California passed a law that said that Amazon, if they have anyone in California recommending their service, and someone will have, like you could have your hunting, fishing blog, right? Your site where, Daniel puts up his hunting tips, and you do a review on a book, and you say this is a great book, or this is a great fishing rod, and here's where you can order it. If someone's looking at your website and clicks on that, and it takes them to Amazon, and they order it, Amazon would send you a check, a commission check. And there are some guys, I know Leo Laporte was making, I think, 20 grand last year from this. Well, when they passed the law saying that these people, that they had to collect sales tax if they had anybody in California doing this, then Amazon said that they were going to simply cancel, and I think tens of thousands of people lost their little side business being able to refer Amazon. So now Amazon is has gotten a petition that they're either circulating or have circulated to put on the ballot in California a move to stop the sales tax so that they don't have to collect it in California. So the argument we had the night that this came out, we had advocates on both sides from California on the show, and one person said, they said it's a bad thing to make them collect the sales tax because it makes tens of thousands of people that pay millions and millions in income tax, their businesses are just immediately shut off, and it's backward. And it's going to cost the consumer more money. And the people who are for it are the people representing the brick and mortar stores. And they said it's not fair to the local computer store in Front Royal if they have to charge sales tax on a cable, but if you order from Amazon, you don't. So what do you think? What's the solution to this? What do you think if you order from a mail order catalog, or now, of course, people would order from the internet, do you think you should have to pay sales tax on that item, and that they should have to collect it from everybody?
I'm all for anybody that's getting around the taxes, because I personally think the government, they get these air conditioned rooms, and they really don't have a lot to talk about anyway. That's important. I mean, they all they want to do is, hey, let's figure out a way we can get some more taxes out of these people.
I hear you, and I see both sides, and I talked to both of those guests, and it was like, I said I understand. I mean, I don't. It is bad for the consumer to charge them more, but it does negatively impact stores. I mean, if I walk in like a Barnes and Noble and I look at their books, I'm not buying anything in there. I might buy a cup of coffee and drink it on my laptop, although I don't even use their free Wi-Fi. I bring my data card in because it's so slow. But basically, I look at anything in there, I can get 40% cheaper plus the sales tax benefit, but really it's the 40% discount unless I'm in a super hurry and I have to have it right now. That's the only time I would do that. But I mean, they're charging full retail list price for stuff, and that's just crazy in this day and age. So I guess there's not far removed from me, it's kind of mooching, I guess, because I might look at something in a Barnes and Noble and say, this is a nice book. Maybe I'll order it online. So I'm kind of like abusing their showroom, but really it's like a showroom for Amazon to me. Some things clothes you want to try on, you know what I mean? Especially if you're a weird size like me or you're 8 feet tall like you are. But in general, a lot of stuff, if it's a commodity, fresh food you can't, but a lot of stuff you can get on the internet and it's cheaper, and you'll have it the next day in many cases. So, but I know you had to collect sales tax when you had your thrift store. I bet that was a real pain every month. I think I've lost him. Okay. All right, that was Daniel Lawson, and now we're trying to get I'm going to try to get Daniel B to call one of the numbers. So anyway, that's the story. Amazon. We'll have to see what they do. Another thing everyone's freaking out about is Netflix. I guess they're changing their pricing structure. What they're going to do is they're going to charge. Right now they have, I think it was $7.95 or something. You could just stream movies, and I love Netflix. And now they're going to, if you want, they're separating their pricing for folks who get DVDs mailed, which I do, and for folks who stream, which I also do. I think right now, I can't remember how much I'm paying. I'm paying something like, $14.95 or $12.95. I don't know. If it's $2 more or something, I could care less. I'll pay it because I love it. Most of the stuff I've rented, the last few things I got from a Redbox machine for $1, I discovered that they were also, when I got home, I could have streamed them on Netflix. And you don't have to wait in line at the thing, So I don't see why everyone's freaking out about that, but it's a free country, right? So Daniel's so I got to kill 5 more minutes. All right, he's going to call. All right, one of the things I want to talk about, and I want to get some advice, and if you'd like to give us some advice, please give us a call. I still have the other Daniel up. Please give us a call. The number is 888-688-6625. I'm trying to get some techie advice, and I'll ask Daniel B when he calls in. But the thing is, if I have some friends, because I have some websites, and I have some friends who are looking for a website, and so they come to me and they say, "Can you make me a website?" And I'm like, "Well, I can teach you how to." We got Daniel back. Daniel, welcome back. Daniel, welcome back. Are you there? I guess she put him back in the screening room or something. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out what do I want to tell him. I can tell him, I showed one guy, because I have about 3 of them simultaneously, and I only have so much time, and it's not really something I do. I mean, it's sort of like owning a truck. You own a truck, and all of a sudden everyone wants to know if you can help them move. It's like, well, I didn't buy the truck. But anyway, so the choices I see it, you can either hire someone. This is for non-techies, right? I mean, most of the techie people would just make a site. But you can either, get WordPress and find a theme, or you can find a framework for a theme, or you can hire someone. You could go locally, or you can go on Elance, or you can look around on the internet. The negative thing there is that you're sort of beholden to this person, and then if you want something touched up or fixed down the road, you've got to deal with this person or this company. But there's some great things. I've looked at Elance, and there's some really talented designers who range from very expensive to very inexpensive. And you can look at their portfolio, look at their reviews, look how many jobs they've done, what the average, how long they've been on the site, that sort of thing. So Elance is something I like. I'm not sure which way to go, and I'm looking. One's for a club, one is some politicians who are looking for a site, and so I'm looking for different WordPress themes and different advice. So if you have any ideas, please let us know. We'd love to put you on the show. So while we're waiting for Daniel, we're going to look. Let's see here. One of the things I've noticed is on the story about the debt on the News Corporation story is. It's interesting how the story being that a UK tabloid, News of the World, the employees allegedly hacked into the voicemail accounts, cell phones of politicians and members of the royalty. And then the thing that really brought it to a head was there was a 13-year-old kidnapping victim, and they logged into the account to listen to the voicemails. The account filled up, the phone did. Then they deleted some of them because they wanted more people to be able to call in. And the family got this false sense of security, thinking that they would that the kid was alive and the kid had been murdered. It was just this horrible tragedy. And now Rupert Murdoch has apparently flown to England to London to mitigate this, and they've closed the News of the World, which was the #1 tabloid in the UK on the #1 Sunday one in England. He says he's going to close it, and then there's speculation that they're going to just take the Sun and make it Sunday or start a new one. But the Prime Minister's former press secretary was arrested a couple days ago. He's a former editor of that paper. So this is a big scandal, and it's growing. But it's interesting. His other properties have remained largely unscathed outside of the UK. In the UK, he's having problems. News Corp is trying to buy I think 62% of B Sky B that they do not currently own, and that is now, I guess they're withdrawing or trying to get more time to deal with that. But it doesn't seem to have impacted his properties in the U.S. In the entertainment field, they own Fox. They own the Fox movies, the Fox network, television network. They own Dow Jones, publisher of the Wall Street Journal. They own Fox News Channel. And so I think that's interesting that it really hasn't translated overseas. It's still kind of a neat story, and I try not to be in too much of a tech bubble in that I don't just follow tech stories, but among my circles, my friends and stuff on Google Plus and that sort of thing, I find that a lot of folks are talking about it, and so it is a news story. So that's interesting, and we'll see how long that lasts. How long that's going to be largely a UK-centered story that does not, in fact, impact. One of the latest developments was Prime Minister Gordon Brown was upset, and between the Sun and apparently they had come to him with information about his child being sick, and then they called him before they were going to make it public, and apparently he and his wife were in tears over it, and so there's not a lot of love lost. And I think one of the things when you're in the news business, and you have a news outlet that is constantly attacking people, that when you screw up, then all those people who you've angered over the years are all going to gang up against you. And that's one of the things interesting parallel to the Anthony Weiner scandal. When he got in trouble, he had really was a partisan attack dog. And so a lot of the stuff was coming out from Andrew Breitbart, who's a conservative blogger and used to work with Matt Drudge at Drudge Report. And he just, Anthony Weiner did not have any friends in the conservative side of the political spectrum. And so when he was in a jam, they all produced their knives and went for the jugular. So now you have the UK government. I'm looking here at Drudge at this stuff. They finally got the thing that off the top banner they had yesterday that Michelle Obama ate a high-calorie meal, which I guess was for a brief moment, the most important news story in the world that reads Drudge. But like, UK government unites against Murdoch, political backlash. News King called before committee. Cameron turns. Murdoch begins pushback. Ex-Prime Minister charges papers that the papers used known criminals as sources. And then here, this is interesting. Piers Morgan in the mix, question mark, and those live updates. So that's, it's a story for sure. And I'm looking, let me tell Daniel to hurry up and call. 818. Oops. Let me tell him. 818. I got to give him the number. 688-66. I don't know what he's calling from. 818-688-6625. If you'd like to join, and Daniel's calling in. But I was reading about, just as a side note while we're waiting for Daniel, I was reading about Google Plus I looked in the news to see what the latest was, because I'm fascinated with the site. And I was reading a story on the Tehran Times in Iran on Google Plus. And then I was curious how many they have, and I think they had like 3 or 4 stories. They're aggregated. I guess they're buying them or perhaps stealing them from some other source. But I don't think they have. The Tehran Times has a reporter on the ground in California. But anyway, so there was a story about this user manual that's being written in the cloud by anyone. It's a Google Doc. Fascinating. They just opened it up to the public, and anybody, I guess only a certain number of people can edit it at the same time, but anybody can come in and edit it live. And it's this wonderful document, and they have, I guess it's self-policing like Wikipedia, but it's live edits, and I think that's just fascinating. It'd be interesting. I guess other folks have like written a novel, sort of a crowdsourcing type thing, but I think that's fascinating, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure someone will sell it, print it up and sell it, and we'll see how that goes. And so let's see here. So we're waiting for Daniel, and I'm interested. There's another thing on the debt ceiling issue. It's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how much of a play that's getting in Vancouver. But it's interesting. President Obama was asked today, will Social Security checks be sent out on time? And he said, well, we don't know, And the whole thing with me is there isn't as much a sense of urgency on the part of the American public over the prospect that the debt ceiling wouldn't be reached, because I don't think most people are convinced that it would be the Armageddon-like scenario that they're trying to portray it as. I think Michelle Bachmann was on there, and she was, I think, ridiculed on some show. They were playing this clip, and it was the question was, or she was making the statement that they can prioritize what they pay. They can pay the interest on the debt and then cut something else. Why does it say that the interest on the debt is optional and other items they could be paying for are not optional? Why is that the first thing to be cut? And they can just prioritize their payments. And they were ridiculing this on one of the networks. But really, it's an interesting question. I don't see why, if you've got to produce, $1 trillion in checks or $100 billion or whatever it is, why everything else is paid but except the interest on the debt. I'm not sure how that is going to work. So anyway, let's bring. I think I'm competing. Daniel. Let me see here. Daniel, are you there? Area code 604. Are you there? Not sure what's going on. Let's try to. All right, here we go. Let's try to bring Daniel in again. Hello, Daniel. We're losing, having issues here. Yeah, he's dropped twice, so hopefully he'll Maybe I'll call him. Let's try to. Let me tell the. All right. Anyway, sorry, we're dying here. All right, here we go. Hello there.
Hey, Dan.
How you doing?
All right, what's going on? What did I miss?
Oh, you missed a lot, but that's okay. All right, the first thing I wanted to, how's everything in Vancouver?
It's pretty good. The weather's nice. Can't complain.
All right, cool. While I fish and get your picture up, one of the questions I had, I want to talk about some tech news and stuff. But one of the questions I have some people who are asking me for advice on websites, and I'm not sure what to tell them. If you're a technical, let me tell you the options I see. If you're a tech person, you would just download WordPress, get a theme or a framework, whatever. But what do you tell a non-technical person? Do you tell them?
It really depends on what kind of website they want to make, right? I mean, if they want to make like a blog where they can just update them with posts here and there every so often, then WordPress would be the way to go, right? Or any kind of a blog software like that. I mean, if you don't have experience setting it up, you can always go to I think WordPress.org or .com, and then you can sign up there, and then they'll actually start up a blog for you, so you don't have to install anything. And later on, when you get more popular or if you feel like you're ready, you can actually apply for a domain name, buy that, and forward that domain name to that a WordPress blog. But if you're looking for like a company website, I believe there are a few options out there where you can sign up and create one, and it's really easy to do. I think Google has a service like that too. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, there are several places, but here's the question. Here's the thing. Let's say you're a car dealer. Wow, that's loud. Let me mute you for.
I'm walking around right now.
Yeah, let me. I'm going to mute you for a sec while I talk, and then bring you back in. All right. Let's say you are a car dealer, and you want a website for your car dealership, a used car dealer, and then you can get a straight up WordPress blog. But let's say you look at CarMax, and you're like, man, that's a great site. Now I don't need all that, but I want something, and I'm not a technical person, right? So how do I do that? Or let's say you're a candidate, and you're running for city council or state house, whatever, and you look at BarackObama.com, or you look at MichelleBachmann.com or JohnMcCain.com, whatever, and you're like, man, this is so awesome. I want these features, and I don't know how to do it. They can either hire somebody or a company. The disadvantage is then they're beholden to that person for any kind of changes in the future, or they can get WordPress and then try to look for a theme that has some of those things. And I think there's like a theme called Politico that looks a lot like whitehouse.gov. And then the advantage there is, well, you don't have total control. It gets you closer to where you want to be. And also you have the advantage of it might be a theme purchased by 50, 100, 150, 250 people. And so there's usually a forum where if someone has questions or something, that your question might already be answered. So, and that's free usually. So another option is to get a framework and then a child theme. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, basically it's like you get the basic WordPress, which is like the building block for your site. And you can't produce a fully functional site with WordPress. But then you can get a framework, which is just sort of usually, a graphical interface, which lets you change colors throughout the site, things like that. And then there'll be child themes. Maybe it looks like a magazine, or it looks like whitehouse.gov, or it looks like a good site for a car dealer or a gift shop, what have you. So for a non-techie person, what advice, Daniel, would you have for those options, or am I missing something? Or another option is Squarespace. Excuse me. Squarespace, which is one of those template type sites where it's a hosted solution and it's drag and drop. What direction should someone go in, do you think?
If if you really don't know how to set up the themes and design your own site, I would definitely go and hire someone to do that, because if you actually go in and mess around with the coding, you could really screw up the site. What you could do is, if you still want control over your website, you could hire someone. They can actually design the site for you the way you want it, right? You can after they're done everything, you can still log on and make posts every day or so. The only thing is, you won't be able to change the design of the site, but you can still add content into the site, right? So all you're basically doing is you're hiring someone to set up the site and design it for you, and then you just go back into it and keep it updated. And put in your own content.
Okay. What do you think? Have you ever looked at one of the Squarespace type? I mean, what do you think about that whole hosted solution, drag and drop type thing?
I've actually never heard of Squarespace. I see a bunch of the hosting solutions out there. Most of the free ones, they don't work too well for me. Or they'll have an ad somewhere, and it doesn't really look professional, you know. If I were to make a website for myself or for my company or whatnot, I'd try to make it as professional as possible and leave all other ads out. As long as, you know, if the ads have nothing to do with what I'm all about, then I wouldn't want it on my site, right? So if I know nothing about designing a site or anything, I definitely would hire someone. It'd save a lot of headache. But if you're comfortable mucking around with the coding and whatnot, then I'd say just give it a try.
Okay. All right. So we always, whenever you're on, we always talk about Google Plus. In the news, I see that they're up to about 10 million. This guy has got I'm sorry. I got to mute Daniel when I'm talking, because it's some kind of attenuator or like compressor, and when he's not talking, it tries to keep the volume at the same level, and so everything that's happening in the room around him, we're hearing real loud, the cat walking by, the fly landing on the wall, and then when he talks, it goes away. It's fine. So I'm going to mute him briefly. But yeah, I think there was estimated, this guy, I forget, he's one of the Google Plus guys, and I think he does Ancestry.com, and on his Google Plus page, he is, because he's obviously a genealogist, so he's into surnames. He knows all about that. So he's using a scientific formula, math that he came up with, and he is, what he's doing is he is determining by the number of surnames that are out there that he's estimating about 10 million people are using it, and he thinks that it's going to be at about 20 million by the end of the weekend. So what do you think, Daniel? Are we going to reach it? My whole thing was, are the soccer moms and the grandparents and the other folks, the non-techies, who are now coming over from Facebook in this giant wave, are they going to like what they see, or is this going to be a bastion for us geeks? What do you think?
I think it's still too early to tell. I mean, the demand for invites is still pretty high. I mean, I had a few people ask me for invites yesterday, like my close personal friends. So it's gonna be hard to predict until they actually really open it up to the public and take it out of beta. I mean, there's still a few kinks that they need to work out, right? So I think that's what they're doing right now with releasing it during beta. They're just listening to the feedback from everyone and then changing what needs to be changed. And then when it goes public, hopefully they'll fix everything and make it all good for everyone. And then everyone's going to like it. And if everyone likes it, I see everyone moving over. I'm biased. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So I don't see why anyone would not like it. You know what I mean? I mean,
oh, yeah.
Even thinking about it from like someone like a work point of view. If you're at work, most likely your employer is going to be blocking MSN, Facebook, Twitter, all that, right? But who's going to block Google? I don't think anyone's going to block Google. That's just crazy. And Google
I didn't think about that.
Pretty smart move.
That's smart. That's smart. If they had made it googleplus.com, they could have blocked it. But you could still block a subdomain, can you? Or not?
You can, yeah, but it might affect a lot. Like the main way to block a site is to block the domain, right? So to block Google would be google.com. Right?
Man, that's smart. I didn't.
Google.com and everything before that too. So it'll be plus www whatever, right? But they made it part of Google. So to block plus, they're gonna be blocking Google. And
man, that's funny. That's genius.
It may work. It may cause some problems. I don't know.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, that's a stroke of genius. Yeah, it's easy to block.
Yeah,
Just don't let your employees use Google.
I don't think anyone's going to be blocking Google.
This could be, a big boon for Ask Jeeves. They could take off again because all these companies will be blocking. I love saying Ask Jeeves every chance I get.
I haven't heard that in a while. I also haven't heard Alta Vista in a while, or webcrawler.com. But yeah, I mean, if employers start blocking MSN chat and all those instant messenger, people are going to go to Google because they can still talk to all their friends on there.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, it's genius. And like we've talked about before, it's getting all these folks. Like now I'm trying to get everyone to get on Google Talk because you pointed out to me how awesome it was.
Yeah.
It follows you. Explain what I'm talking about for folks who aren't familiar and say, I don't need another IM client. I'm fine with my text messages or whatever. Tell me why Google Plus is better or Google Talk.
Oh, you want me to explain why I think Google Talk is better than all the IMs out there?
Yeah, and why it's going to bury your hometown Research in Motions products.
Well, first of all, Research in Motion is not my hometown. I believe it's somewhere in Ontario. But okay, well, then I gotta start explaining why BlackBerry Messenger and all that is okay. So BlackBerry Messenger, you have it. You can only talk to other BlackBerry Messenger users, so you can't really talk to someone who has an iPhone. You can't talk to someone who has an Android. Now, Apple's coming out with the iOS 5, which will have the iMessage, but it's the same thing as BlackBerry Messenger, where you can only talk to other iPhone users. You can't really talk to anyone else. Now, there's other third-party applications like WhatsApp, Kik, I forget what they're called, but they Ping Chat, but they allow you to talk to other phones. But it's all it is an instant messenger. It's like MSN Messenger or AIM or Yahoo, but the difference is it's mobile. It's only for the phone, right? So if you're at your desk working and whatnot, when someone messages you, you have to pick up the phone to answer them. Now, what Google Talk is, it's an instant messenger, but it's both for computer and mobile devices. BlackBerry already has Google Talk pre-installed on most of their devices, I believe. How it works is it also allows multiple connections, so you can have your computer connected and your phone connected at the same time, right? So and what I like about it is the syncing of conversations. So what I can do is I can start talking to you at home when I wake up and start eating breakfast. I can start talking to you on my computer, right? And then I have to go to the office. So, hello, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can say I have to go to the office. I can pick up my phone, log in from there, and the conversation that we've had on the phone or on the computer is now on my phone. So everything you said on the computer is now on my phone. Now I start talking to you on my phone on my way to work. I get to the office, sit down there, log into the computer there, and the conversation that we've had on the phone is now on the screen on my office computer.
Right.
So it syncs the conversation. It makes everything. I just love it. I love it. Now, instead of talking to you on my phone, I say I'm zoned into my computer at work, right? I'm talking to you on my computer. I don't have to pick up my phone anymore to talk to you. Right?
Exactly.
It's all
This happened
now.
today. Yeah, because you were fussing at me today about something, and I was my charger was in the room in the back, and I didn't want to unplug it and bring it out here, so I plugged my phone in the back room, and then I was up here, and I was like, man, I'm not get. And then the conversation followed. It popped up here when you responded. So yeah, it was terrific. Yeah, I love that aspect of it. Wow, that's loud.
And with that, I think even if employers block MSN and all those chat protocols, right? You can still log into Google, right? Instead of going to Google.com, you can go to iGoogle, and the chat's still there. The chat is also on your Gmail. The chat is also on your Google Plus. Right, you don't need to download anything. It's already there. They made it easy for you to use their chat program. They made it super easy for you to use. You don't need to download anything. And I think with that move, I think they're poised to take over all the chat programs out there.
Absolutely. Okay, we got just a couple minutes left with Daniel. And what else is it? Anything in the news that you want to talk about?
No, not on top of my head, no.
Well, one of the things we talked about earlier with the other Daniel was the Amazon thing, Amazon.com. You're familiar with the controversy in California. I'm not sure what it's like. What is it like in Canada? If I go to let me mute you real quick. I'm sorry. If I go to a Canadian retailer, I assume there's a sales tax, maybe a city, state, whatever sales tax. If I buy a book, if I buy a book from CanadaBooks.com or something, then oh my gosh, I screwed up. If I buy a book from CanadaBooks.com and I've got the wrong number on the screen, it's 818, not 888. So I'm going to fix that. Tell me about how the sales tax thing works and what your opinion is of the controversy in the States.
I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, in BC here, we got sales tax on everything, right? I think there are a few provinces up in Canada where you're exempt from sales tax, but up here we pay tax on everything. So you got tax, you gotta pay. I don't know. Everyone hates taxes, but you gotta pay it.
Right.
Right. I don't really have a strong view. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I don't know.
I'm going to bring another caller in here to join us here. This is from the 540 area code. How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, this is Eddie. How you doing, Eddie?
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Let me. What's going on in Front Royal?
Everything's doing pretty good. I was watching your show for the first time on the internet there.
I see I had the wrong number on the screen.
Yeah, I was trying to help you out a little bit there. But as far as their deficit, to me, I believe if our country...
You're calling me, Pat. You're calling me.
Excuse me?
Go ahead, Eddie.
I mean, as far as their deficit in this country, I believe if we could quit helping so much on these countries that we've been helping for 20 and 30 years and help ourselves for once, I think, we would rebound from this recession and everything a lot quicker. And then maybe, once our country rebounded, we could maybe step back in and start helping them countries that we've been helping for 30 or 40 years.
That's true. It's not really the big thing there. The big problem with that is that the foreign aid, you can argue pro or con about whether it's worth it. because like this country might help us.
In a way, it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if a country's helping us try to get bin Laden or something, and we give them money, and but it's a very tiny percentage. I think it's less than 1% of the U.S. federal budget. So it's not really even if we cut all foreign aid out, it wouldn't go near solving our problem. So that's a common sentiment, but it really
it wouldn't help. It wouldn't help. But as far as people starving and living in poverty in this country. I mean,
yeah.
As far as the food, and everybody pushing these programs, your Oprah Winfrey's and just all these big time, show business people, they all the time go always hearing. I mean, they give to the people in the United States, but you always hear them doing something for another country. Drilling a well, sending a dump truckload of food. I mean, you never hear them. Yeah, we just brought 2 dump truckloads of food down to D.C. and they're handing them out. I mean, you never hear that.
I think people are frustrated. I think people are frustrated that they're spending and spending, and it seems like everyone in the country is hurting financially, but it seems like the government doesn't want to. It seems like the government doesn't want to step up and look at what they're spending, and they spend like drunken sailors, and it's frustrating. I hear you.
Exactly, but like I say, I was just calling in to basically. I was like watching the show on the internet here, and I mean it's a pretty cool thing you got going on there.
Thank you very much, Eddie. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you correcting the phone number on the screen.
No problem.
All right. Well,
when I take my medication, I'll be more out to talk to you on one of your other shows that I'm more enlightened on.
All right. I appreciate it. I know about 11 o'clock or so, you've definitely taken your medication usually.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie from Front Royal. All right. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. All right. So Daniel in Vancouver. I'm trying to bring back in here. Daniel from Vancouver is back with us. Okay. So I'm looking here. I'm just doing a quick Google Plus thing because we have folks who watch us on Google Plus because we're both on there, and I see what do you think about Facebook blocking these? People keep making these utilities for you to. Basically, what it does is it goes through your Facebook friends, finds their email addresses, and then captures them. That was the first one, and then Facebook blocked it and said you can't aggregate your data from Facebook. And then someone else just was capturing the first and last name, and then Facebook blocked it. They're really blocking any attempt for anyone to, in bulk, take all their friends from Facebook and move them over because there's a 5,000 limit on Facebook to bring them over to Google Plus. What are your thoughts on this? I got in early and mine worked.
Well, I think it's because they're scared, right? I mean, they don't want to lose all their users, right? I mean, but I don't think Facebook is gonna go away. I think it's gonna stay there, right? I mean, it's a pretty big thing. It's too big to just go away. But also, I understand that in their TOS it says that you can't use automated bots to go in and grab information, right? You have to go and do it yourself. So I think they're just trying to keep their terms of services, they don't allow it. So I can see why they're blocking it, but I understand why they're blocking it too, because they don't want to lose all their customers, right? I mean that's their source of income, right? I mean they need users to view ads, and if you don't have users to view ads, then they're not making money, right? So I understand why they're doing it, but I mean if they didn't block it, I can see people not talking smack about them and saying they're scared or whatnot. But if I was them, I'd be scared too. I mean, Google Plus is a good thing. I I'm addicted to it. I'm on it more than I'm on Facebook, right? So I can see why.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't go to Face. I mean, yeah. I just I went to some site and I replaced my picture on Facebook. I put a little Google Plus logo on it.
Yeah, me too. I did that too.
Yeah, I saw some little app. I mean, everyone's making these things. It's funny the difference in the technological audience. Some of these stories, like ZD, like the tech blogs, or it can be. Can Google be a Facebook killer, and concerns over Facebook stream importers? So you have one end of the spectrum. And then like Huffington Post, of course, that's an online only publication, right? So it's naturally going to have people who are familiar with computers reading it. And they had a story, Facebook scam, fake Google Plus invite app offers direct access. And that's 5 hours ago. The Washington Post, Google Plus could hit 10 million users today. And then this is funny, on CBS News, the headline, "So what is Google Plus anyway?" So it's like, for all ends of the political spectrum.
It is kind of hard to explain what it is,
That's true. And like I saw this one guy who was all freaked out. He said, "Strangers have put me in circles. Should I block them?" Or, and
it doesn't matter. They just don't understand how it works.
Right. It's like Twitter, really.
It works. You won't care. You won't care if someone adds you or not, as long as you understand how it works. You're like, okay, who cares? So
yeah, they can.
The way I explain what Google Plus is now, it's Twitter on steroids. That's the way I explain Google Plus.
Yeah, and it's mainly your profile. If they put you in a circle, all they can see is your public profile, just like the old Google profiles. And then anything you post on there, that is, you can determine. Now you can screw up and accidentally, add public, but everything I do is public. But there is a way you can post something solely to a specific user. Like if I go on my page and I say, if I hit the plus sign, or I can use the @ sign, that's obviously from borrow from Twitter. But if I put Daniel and space B and then it finds you and I hit enter, if I put only your name in the sharing with thing, then I can type whatever and it only goes to you. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so really all they can see is your public profile.
Exactly.
And that's going to be showing up in Google anyway. If you make one, it's in Google big time, and that's what everyone uses, except for the last Ask Jeeves holdouts.
You can also choose what they see on your profile too.
Okay.
You can go in and edit and choose how people see your profile. So it's as long as you make it the way you want people to see it, it's okay.
What do you think about this idea of this book that they're making actually, I was reading about this in the Tehran Times, the first Iranian newspaper article I've read. It was actually, I think, from PC World or something. I guess they have rights or bought it or just stole it. I'm not sure which. But it was an article from the Tehran Times on the book. And I had heard about it before, but I haven't checked it out lately. It's a Google Doc, and it's open to the public, and anybody is allowed to edit it. And I guess it's just a limit. You can keep trying to get in until you can get in, because there's a limit on how many people can be on at once, maybe 50 or something. That's fascinating. Crowdsourcing, it's sort of like, that's like Wikipedia on steroids, where you actually just have an open, anybody could delete it, or I guess it saves revisions. That's a whole thing I'd never heard of before, other than something like Wikipedia.
I think Google has something like that as well.
That's what I mean. It's a how to use Google Plus. It's a user manual, and anybody's allowed to edit it live and read it. It's all free.
I'm pretty sure Google offers a service where you can make your own wiki site. So, yeah, I think Google offers a service just like that, where you can go in, like for let's say for your own company, you make your own wiki for your company. You know?
Yeah.
People can go in and add things, edit things, delete things.
What do you think? All the other stuff that they have, and some of the things, like I didn't use Gmail until I had to for this. I had an account, but I never used it, for years. And I never used Google Talk until you convinced me to try it, and now we use it all the time. But and there's all these other things that people like Picasa, and I've got this new photo vine thing that they went live with, and I have no idea what the heck it is. I don't think anybody does. But what about why they went with this direction instead of turning Orkut into this, or what do you think? Because they've made several, in retrospect, stumbles towards social networking in the past.
Well,
and then
Orkut follows the old social sites, social networking site formula. It kind of follows the Facebook, Friendster, MySpace formula, where you have your own profile and that's it. I see Google Plus more as a sharing thing, where you have your own profile, but it's more geared towards sharing. So it's there for you to share things. Right. I mean, you can. I guess you can post things on Orkut. I haven't really been on there. You can share your thoughts on Facebook, but Facebook that's not their main goal. That's not what they're all about. They're all about it's your own online home, your own online hub kind of deal. Where Google Plus is more like. It's all about sharing, and it's all who you share it to, and what you want to share. You know what I mean? So it's a different concept, different idea. So if they were to repackage Orkut, it would take away from that platform and all their user base already, right? So I think it was a good idea for them to make a whole new thing and keep those two things separate.
I'm looking. I have about 1,000 people who share stuff with me. I think it's currently, I'll tell you exactly, 979. And then I got a URL, the G+.2 thing. I've got that on the screen. G+.2/McDermott goes to my profile because they don't have good URLs yet. I guess they're going to figure that out, but like there's a bunch of McDermotts. How are they going to figure that out? So I grabbed this one. But it goes so fast when you're on it, and I find that I'm still finding this, despite probably initially it was all techie, geeky people like us, and then like regular mainstream people are coming on now that aren't so geeky, and I still find the intelligence level, the level of humor, and the politeness. Nobody's mean on here. Have you noticed that? I think a lot of it is because you can't be anonymous for long. And I think, it's just, are you finding that the level of discourse is just awesome and staying that way?
Well, everyone who's on Google Plus now is either on it because they've requested an invite or they've gotten an invite. I think when it's more open, there's going to be a lot more, I want to say, idiots that sign up and they're just going to troll around and whatnot, right? So the people that are on there right now, they're on there because they want to be on there, right? They want to see what's going on. They're going to be respectful about everything. But as soon as it opens up to the public, there's bound to be some idiot that's going to go on there just to cause trouble.
I hear you.
So.
All right,
So
well, Daniel.
At this stage right now, I see it staying the way it is. But as soon as it opens up, there's going to be some trolls, no doubt.
Is it still invite, or I thought you could just sign up now?
Only, yeah.
Okay.
I still see an invite option on my homepage, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Daniel, I appreciate it from Vancouver, our Canadian tech guru. We always appreciate you calling in, and thanks to your other half for allowing us to keep you from dinner for a couple minutes. All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. Folks, we're here weeknights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. At there's a link right on my Plus page. Just go to G+.2/McDermott, and you'll find the link to the YouTube archives and everything. Okay, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great time, and that's it for the show for tonight.